Okay, this video has nothing to do with sports or streaming or anything like that. So if that's what you want to watch, thanks for the view. I have started to write again. Um, I guess you never really stop doing that when you're streaming. You're storytelling, and when you're playing games, you're telling a story to yourself. And for the last 6 years or so, you and I swap a lot of stories. We play a game, story tells a game, and all that. But I'm actually meaning taking out a word processor and writing something. And I'm not talking about stuff that's related to the community. I'm talking about doing fiction, which again is what I do 3 or 4 days a week for an hour live on Twitch or wherever. Game. This storytelling, and I'm not going to get into what it is that I'm doing at this point because goodness knows, I just love to have the fact that my bald spot now just kind of goes all the way back. Um, to go through and what was that? Oh yeah, different type of thing. If it ever gets close enough to being workable and done, then I'll share it because I'll want you to buy it. But right now, not even close to that. So normally, when I did fiction before, I've never had anything published. I've got a novel I think that's sitting on another computer in the back of the room here, which I need to get out of a hard drive, which I did for NaNoWriMo. I think it was like 68,000 words, and I did a novella, which at some point my mother took off with that needs to be edited. But so I've done this before, and it kills some time. And I will say up front that writing fiction is pretty much cutting your wrists, and don't demonetize me for that. YouTube, it's just a figure of speech, and bleeding on the page and coming out with whatever it comes out with. I give people like Mark Unger and others credit for being able to write credible fiction and make money from it because it is truly one of the toughest things to do to sit there and pull everything out from between your ears, make a coherent story, and make people want to read it. Because surprisingly enough, if all you ever say is, "Oh, we had a great day, we went to Disney, ate ice cream, and that's what we're doing tomorrow," and then on Thursday, then we fly home. I mean, that's apparently people don't find that very compelling. They want drama. They want, oh, I went to Disney, ate ice cream, spent $300 to have a meal with Cinderella. Cinderella decided to relieve herself or whatever, and yeah, that's what people want to read. They don't want to read, oh, we had a good time, and the next day we had a good time, and then I slept. It's not what you need. Conflict and tension. So I had purchased a lifetime license to Pro Writing Aid a few years ago when I was doing this and writing for. I'll tell you how long ago it was. I got it when I was writing for Bleacher Report, and I haven't written for Bleacher Report in 10 years. To give my pieces that I was pumping out at least a look over for grammar and clarity and spelling and all that. And so to try to give my proofreaders at Bleacher Report a little bit of a better, easier time of it. Um, I also, I believe, did my NaNoWriMo experience with Scrivener, which is native for the Mac, but there's been 3 versions and lots of updates for Windows, and it's just a good way to organize as you write. When I did NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, the goal is to write 50,000 words in 30 days. I did it in 20. Because November is my birthday month and Thanksgiving, and they go busy through parts of November. So organize thoughts, write a lead paragraph, do 750 to 1,000 words based on what you're writing. You plot and outline and all that was very helpful. This time around, I kept seeing, it was an ad on Facebook that I kept seeing called AutoCrit. And when you look it up, there's AutoCrit's done a lot of videos, but there really weren't that many independent videos of that. AutoCrit does offer a lifetime subscription price of a lot of money, and I haven't decided if I will do that yet. I did sign up for 1 month for half price, which is still a reasonable chunk of change, considering that it's not the most user-friendly thing in the world. Anyway, so the combination of the three, Pro Writing Aid, Scrivener, and AutoCrit, is what I'm using. Why am I using three different programs? Well, there's an AI element now that can critique your written work. And I find that to me was very helpful. You pump out a scene, you throw it into the grammar checker. I didn't pay for Grammarly. Pro Writing Aid, got all my words spelled right, got my verb tenses kind of okay, and then you hit the critique button, and it gives you a pretty good summary of where it thinks you need to work on and what you've done well. And for the most part, tells me that my stuff is okay, which is good. I'm not sure how much, but you can only really do it one scene at a time. And so when I put in a full 6,000 words of work into it for my daily critique, it would only work on the first 4,000 words. This was in Pro Writing Aid. And that I found to be very frustrating, because from one scene or chapter or writing session to another, you are adding on to things that you've written before. You know where you want the story to go. I haven't outlined this one because I'm not quite sure where the story is going to go. There's things in my head, and things in my head have changed 2 or 3 times since starting to write. And so, as much as I love Pro Writing Aid as far as what it can do, the fact that the critiquing portion of it is limited to a chunk of 4,000 words. Most story novels are between 75 and 100,000 words. I don't care if it takes me an hour to go through it. Where's it weak? So I found AutoCrit on Facebook because it kept advertising on Facebook over and over and over again. Like, it's been doing that for about 6 months. And I've just started writing in the last couple weeks. So it's like, okay, what does this do? So I looked for some videos on it, and it's not a grammar editor, which is fine, because Pro Writing Aid, I think, is absolutely fantastic for any type of writing that you're trying to do. Highly recommend it. Look at the lifetime subscription if you write on a regular basis. Yes, Pro Writing Aid is your friend. The AutoCrit is pretty much an auto critique. In fact, the ads say, so you don't have to bribe the beta reader with chocolate. Okay. I wrote something today. I threw it in. It gave me a very high score for an overall technical level, which I really don't believe. If I was that good of a technical writer, I'd still be writing for the sports stuff I was writing for before. And then when I hit but how does it do for general fiction? Please do this differently. So I'm really not quite sure how to interpret all that. And again, AI being a tool to kind of help you go through and figure out what you need to work on. Again, I gave it 1,200 words. It seems like it's a program that needs a lot more words than that. So I don't want to say that I'm disappointed with the program or anything like that. It was just kind of a string, and I ran one longer chapter through it, and one of the things that it suggested was, in the future, how do these two characters deal with their injuries? Well, I made it quite clear that the two characters in question were dead. Kind of a strange thing from the AI to think that unless I'm writing a soap opera, that death isn't permanent. So one of those strange things. Like, no, how are they going to deal with it? They're going to eternally rest. They're kind of done with the story as far as being live actions, because again, you have to torture things when you write fiction. No one wants to read about what flavor of ice cream that you read or ate over and over and over again. Wilford Brimley will come knock it out of your head and tell you you have diabetes. So I thought that part was interesting and kind of the contrasts of that. But again, just kind of like with the sports simming and the streaming, there's just a whole variety of software that I haven't quite figured out which combination of how to use it is best. I kind of like that instant feedback for what I'm doing right and what I'm doing or what could needs to be worked on. I found that part very helpful to go, okay, this is what you thought when you wrote it, in your head. I mean, you're thinking you wrote that and you go, okay, it actually, you conveyed that point and the characters are believable and so on and so forth. And that's the thing, because it's one thing just to write. The other part, if you're writing like this, you're hoping that at some point someone wants to read it. So that part I found helpful. Again, I think going forward, the more I write, hopefully the AutoCrit software will help identify things where are weak, and certainly they're not limiting you to 4,000 words at a time. But again, one of the things that kind of ran into my head was that, I think AI itself is pretty soulless. You give it some ideas, it pukes out something resembling a story. Great, Bernie Strom uses them for, I believe, all of his game summaries, I believe, are all written in ChatGPT. He'll correct me if I'm wrong, and it should. But as far as, sitting down there at a word processor of your choice and typing out words and having them mean something is a little different than, write me a story about someone who gets stuck riding a bus or whatever idea that is, and having the AI write the story. I like the fact that it can help you change a passive sentence into an active sentence, because we don't really want to read passive verb sentences. And I like the idea that it gets read in a hurry and go, okay, here's where you're inconsistent. Here's where you might want to think about this, that, and the other thing. I think, just like with a lot of other things, that some people want that feedback immediately. I find that it's helped me. And some people might not want that feedback till they're done. AI can be a tool, and I don't want the AI to write a story, but I found, at least so far, neither the limits of what the AI will do or it not quite understanding what I'm writing, that it's not the most effective thing in the world, and that can be pretty strange. And once as with games, once you start charging money for it, you really want it to work. So, not saying it doesn't work. Again, I haven't put enough in, but it's at the moment trying to figure out how to use it correctly. So, if you also write on the side, because I can't imagine too many authors are going to be watching this video, what are you using for writing and critiquing? Again, the grammar part, although it's always very disheartening to pop up on a scene and say, oh, your score is 38 out of 100. Okay, we'll get that part right. But as far as, if any of you out there do write fiction, what are you using to help make your stories better? And what should I be looking at as far as software is concerned to make the critiquing part better? I'm fine with Scrivener and the formatting and all that. All right, so Uncle Ron talks about writing. There we go. I'm Ron Chuckett. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you the next time.